Hello friends and welcome to Fire Emblem Discussion. So today we're going to look at the DLC characters and their leaked information. Now, I found all this information on Serenus Forest, and they actually don't have the characters' names listed by them, but they do have like DLC 1, DLC 2, DLC 3 in parentheses for all of these stats and learned abilities and whatever else. All that to say, I don't necessarily know that this matches with this character. Maybe there's a better source. I looked around, I couldn't find one. So I don't necessarily know this is correct, but based on what we know from the characters, what their classes are going to be, and just things we saw in the trailer, like what kind of magic they used and whatever else, I have an idea of which DLC character matches to like the actual name. So I'm fairly confident that I have the right stuff here. If I don't, let me know in the comments, and we'll rectify that in another video. But I just want to take a look at these characters, because honestly, they look pretty dope. And I'm pretty excited about him. So first, let's look at Yuri. Yuri, one more thing to note. It says I put level 1 bases. That's because the information we have is based on if you were to recruit these units or start with these units at level 1. That's how all the units in 3 houses, that's how all their stats are calculated. They all have level 1 base stats. So this is Yuri's level 1 base stats. You can see him right there. And, you know, they look pretty good. A decent strength and magic stat to start off. I think that's the highest. If you were to add those two together, that's up there with the highest in the game, to have 17 combined strength magic. So he's definitely meant to be some sort of... He's definitely meant to be a mixed unit, which I'm not a huge fan of mixed units. I prefer just to have, you know, not that, if I'm being honest. But it'll be fine. I'm sure he'll be good, because he's a DLC character. Otherwise, his only really notable thing to me is his speed growth of 50, which will allow a lot of growth there. And otherwise, he seems like he's going to be a fairly mixed unit. He does have a high charm growth, actually. 55 is pretty good. He'll have high charm probably by the end of the game. Sort of consistent with the lords, the other lords in the game. So I think Yuri has an opportunity to be pretty good as far as stats go. And then we look at his magic list, which honestly is whatever. Wind is probably one of the better, one of the better starting magics, just because it's so light. It doesn't hit very hard, but again, really light, which is nice. Cutting Gale and Sagittae are fine. And Excalibur, you know, you'd rather see something like Anya's arrows or maybe even Ragnarok. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the stats of Excalibur again, but I don't feel like it's as impressive as some other spells. But his speed's pretty good, so maybe he'll be doubling with it, which is better than not double, which would probably be better than him having an extra strong spell to not double with. So that's fine. And his learned ability, his unique learned abilities and unique learned combat arts are not going to be his strong point. Battalion Advantage is good when paired with like Battalion Wrath or something like that, which only like 1 or 2 other characters can do. And Model Leaders, whatever. Haze Slice, again, I don't know, Haze Slice and Finesse Split, I'm not impressed by either of those either. I feel he's definitely meant to be a magic unit overall. I think that's where he'll find most of his success. It's kind of like Lorenz. Lorenz is a mixed unit, but tends to do better in a magic class, just because magic hits harder. And, you know, I don't know, magic is just really good. So if you can have the choice between going with one or the other, magic is generally going to be the better choice. Just most characters don't have the choice to go either way. So overall, I think Yuri's going to be pretty good. I think you're going to want to throw him into... He'll have Trickster, I guess. It's just kind of like what he's meant to be. But I think you will want to throw him into a more magic-y class. Other than that, you know, throw him down the Monk class line. Throw him in a Mage at some point to get Fiendish Blow and you know, and so on and so forth. He'll be good, but he won't be... I don't think he's going to be like broken like the other lords. I don't know. Maybe he will be. Looking at his stats, it's hard for me to tell. I wonder if he'll have his own personal class too, like the other lords do. Because Yuri's obviously like the lord of the group. So he could definitely have his own personal class. I'm interested to see. Overall, he'll be good, because he's a DLC character. And all 4 of these DLC characters are pretty good. I'm not going to lie. Now let's move on to Balthus. Balthus is the big war monk guy that you see in the trailer. His level 1 base is, you know, obviously very strength heavy. But what surprises me is the really low defense on this guy. Look at that defense. 3 defense with a 20% growth. So that's honestly kind of weird. It's a very Raphael kind of stat spread. High HP, high strength, and kind of cruddy everything else, if I'm being honest. His res growth is surprisingly good, though. So War Monk is going to be an interesting class. Just gauntlets on a magic unit's like, why? If I'm being honest. Yeah, it's kind of weird to me, but I'll take it. His magic list is not very good. Only has heal for healing. Doesn't even get restore. I mean, it doesn't even get recover. So his healing is going to be really weak. So he's not going to, like, sure, War Monk can use magic, but that's not going to be his selling point. His selling point is going to be just really high HP and really high damage. So he's going to be like your traditional warrior or fighter from like the GBA games or the Tellius games, where high HP, low defense, high strength. So you can deal a lot of damage, you take a lot of damage, but you have so much HP that it's fine. So he'll be pretty bulky and be able to take rounds of combat, a round or two of combat, but I don't think he'll be like a frontline tank like a Fortress Knight would be. You could throw him into Fortress Knight maybe to fix that defense, but I don't like Fortress Knights, so I'm never going to advocate for that class, if I'm being honest. His learned combat arts, he has quite a few. You know, Bane of Monsters, Diamond Axe, Armor Strike, Draining Blow. Those are all fine. None of them are crazy. Diamond Axe is pretty good. Like, just adds a lot of might to an axe, which is really good. And I can only think of 2 other characters that get it off the top of my head, so I mean, it's a pretty rare thing. He does want Rally Strength. Rally Strength is dope. I love Rally Strength. I think overall you're going to want to throw Balthus into physical classes. I wouldn't even waste time with, unless War Monk has some amazing mastery ability that will like make him, or master combat art or something that'll make him really good. I would say even just avoid that and just go into Grappler, and into War Master and whatever else. It's just, that'll fit him better, I feel. It'll make him a better unit overall. Being able to strike twice with that really high strength, again, similar to Raph, is just going to be really good. Alright, let's look at Constance now. Constance is Lysithea, except she doesn't have dark magic, and she has rescue instead of warp. Constance has an extremely high magic growth. It's tied for highest in the game with Lysithea. Base growth, I should say. And everything else is kind of okay. You know what I mean? Except 20% HP growth. I have to look at what Lysithea is again. I don't remember off the top of my head what her growths are. But I know that they're not spectacular. But I feel like they might be a little better than this. Like, look at 30 speed base. Super slow. The 60 magic is nice. So she'll have high magic. She'll be your quote-unquote, the one-shot person. She does learn Anya's arrows, which is just really strong magic attack, and bolting, which would be fun to have on someone with really high magic. The other people who are learning bolting or meteor, their magic isn't that spectacular, so it'll be fun to have it on someone with a really high magic growth. So she'll be able to nuke stuff from far away, a time or 2 per map, which will be really nice. And she learns Rally Magic and not Rally Res. I like Rally Magic a lot. Rally Res isn't as important or as potent, honestly. But it is, honestly, I'd probably just equip Rally Magic and forget Rally Res. As far as learn combat arts, Soul Blade can be really good if you want to train her sword rank. If you want to train her sword rank and raise her to, get her to the point where she can use the Silver Sword or Silver Sword Plus, then Soul Blade will definitely deal a hefty chunk of damage. But you're probably better off overall just sticking to her magic list, which is pretty good. Her black magic list, I should say. And I think the other thing that is really appealing about her, again, it's not like her unique class. I think other units can be able to use it. Dark Flyer. With Rescue, I think has potential to be really good and be able to do some really interesting strats with that. Being able to fly in over some barriers or whatever, rescue a unit, and then have them go on from there. That's going to have a lot of unique application that Rescue just doesn't have right now. Rescue... It's like okay at this point. It doesn't do as much as like Warp does, but I think with the Dark Flyer, I think it will have the opportunity to do even more work than it already does. So I'm excited to see what that can do. Like, I don't know, I can already just picture, Stride, Rescue, Rescue. Like, I don't know. You can even have so if you have 2 Warpers and a Rescue and two warpers and a rescue. So you warp, rescue with another unit, rescue the other warp. So you warp someone that you want to go far, you rescue the other warper, then you use that warper to rescue the person you want to go far. Use that warper to warp the person that you rescued to go even further, or warped already. I don't know. You could get some pretty fun warping strats with that between dancing and stride and everything. You'll be able to go pretty far on a map, if I'm being honest. So I think that will be a fun selling point for her. But I think ultimately she'll end up in a different class, in Gremory or something like that, to have higher magic. I don't know. It'll just be, I think it'll be a kind of thing where you just do what you need that map. A lot of people don't realize that. It's actually something that I've seen very few people really focus on, is that just learn, if you can learn multiple classes, and maybe you could want to switch between them, between maps. For instance, my first Maddening playthrough on New Game, Fresh File, I had Leonie as a Pegasus Knight, but she also, I would switch between Pegasus Knight and Bow Knight, which is kind of a weird one to switch between. But that's just what I had her learn at that point. So I would switch between those two whenever I needed it. And it really went really well. She was my best unit throughout the game, and she just dominated. So don't be afraid to have constants, have Dark Flyer available, but maybe throw her into Gremory if you need some extra rescues for whatever reason, or you need extra uses of magic, or you need a higher magic stat, or whatever. So yeah, Constance is going to be fun. I think she looks pretty good. I think she's basically going to be Lysithea, except with rescue. But yeah, other than that, and the long-range magic would be fun to mess with. I don't know how to say her name. Happy? We'll say Happy for now. It's probably someone's going to yell at me. Really high magic base, similar to Constance, but not as good a growth. But at 45, 60 is like crazy, like almost kind of overkill. 45 will get the job done. 40 speed, which is better. Overall, I think she has a better stat spread, at least growth-wise at the very least, than Constance. However, and honestly, I'm more impressed with her her magic list in general. She does have Physic and Warp, which is like the golden combination. Only one other unit has that, being Linhardt, and his magic is honestly kind of crap. So his Warp just isn't as potent as other characters. So I think Happy has an opportunity to really shine as the best white magic user in the game. Her black magic list, or I guess I should say her dark magic list, is fine. Miasma, Swarm, Banshee, Death, and Hades. She'll deal a lot of damage, and hit from a distance and stuff, which is great. She really is built to synergize with her class that she comes with, not comes with, just the one that's like her class, the one that they advertise for her. That's her DLC class, the Mage Knight or Valkyrie or whatever it's called. I think that'll be really good for her. Just the extra range will be nice, especially with like Death having 4 range instead of 3. And I think she will have an opportunity to do a lot of one-shotting with Hades. And then Swarm is just a really nice, -5 speed on an enemy is no joke. It can be really helpful. So overall, I think her white magic list is what's most impressive about her, having Warp. And because of Warp and Physic, I'm almost tempted to throw her into a different class, because I want more uses of those spells. So throwing her into Bishop or Gremory may be better for some maps. Again, just have multiple things available. But I think for some maps you will want more than 1 Warp, or you'll want more than, 5 Physics? Is it 5, I think? Yeah. So that's just something to keep in mind. I think overall she is going to be, I think she will be seen overall in the long run slightly better than Constance. Just because of her utility and her magic list and everything. Oh yeah, I guess I should mention she doesn't learn any she doesn't have any unique combat arts that she learns, and her learned abilities are Rally Dex and Battalion Wrath, which Rally Dex is whatever. I guess if you want +8 hit, that's fine. Battalion Wrath can be really good, so if you want to work with that, you have that to play around with for some one-shotting with some crits and stuff. But yeah, those are the 4 DLC characters. I'm really excited for them personally. I think they all look like they're going to be really good. I think Balthus is the least impressive of them all. after looking through stats and stuff, but that may be different in practice, and I'll have to wait until I really really get into these characters and really give you my thoughts. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to leave a like if you wouldn't mind. It helps the channel grow. And also subscribe if you haven't. We do videos like this all the time. We also stream here on Fire Emblem Discussion. We have a good time. Play some Smash. Of course, we stream a lot of Fire Emblem and other games like it. So if you want more of that, make sure to subscribe. Helps the channel. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Catch you next time.